Dead money, a.k.a. Carlos Correa.
Turns out we have a third contract on the books after all.
And here's where it gets kind of sad, I think. I say that a lot these days with the Twins, but in this particular case. So they have 36.5 tied up in Buxton and Lopez. Those are good contracts. They also, however, agreed to pay when they dumped Correa on July 31st on the Astros. Correa had basically 3.5 years. He had the rest of this season plus 3 more years on his contract. And it was a total of about $104 million that he was owed for those 3.5 seasons. So the Twins agreed to cover or pay or eat $33 million out of that $104 million, which means the Astros were taking on $71 million of the $104 million. And we know the details of how they agreed to eat that money, which is they sent them $3 million immediately at the trade deadline, basically.
Which is about a third of what he was had to pay him for that year. Yeah, that's right.
And then they will be sending, I forget the date, but it's like January 1st or whatever it is of each year. In each of the next 3 seasons, 26, 27, and 28, they will be sending the Houston Astros $10 million to cover basically 1/3 of Correa's $30-something million contract. So effectively, that's a guaranteed salary. It just isn't attached to an actual player. It is attached to the ghost of Carlos Correa or a blank space. If you're a Taylor Swift fan, we got a blank space where you're going to write his name, Carlos Correa, $10 million. I just said that in case Becky listens to this show. So that brings them up to $46.5 million, obviously, in terms of real commitments up front. My question, well, a couple things. And we talked about this at the trade deadline, which everyone was like, oh, they cleared so much money. They cleared $70 million. Well, that only helps you if you spend that money.
That's right.
And in this case, they are saving $20 million per year on Correa, basically. Maybe a little 20 and change, but let's call it $20 million for 2026. That only helps you if you are spending an additional $20 million on top of what you normally would have spent.
Right.
Whatever their expected spending level is, it only helps you to get rid of Carlos Correa if you are going to take that $20 million and not only reinvest it, but reinvest it above and beyond whatever you were going to spend normally. Because if you don't do that, then all dumping Carlos Correa did was not have Carlos Correa. And that doesn't help your team, whether you're a big believer in Correa bouncing back or not. Not having him doesn't make your team any better, just setting aside the money.
That's right. I mean, if they were at $140 million in payroll as they went into this season. If we take a look, the presumption would be, well, hopefully that's going to continue to rise. They right-sized things 2 years ago, like Joe Pohlad said, and if that continues to rise to 145, 150, that's great. But if they cut it back down to 130, 120, 110, well, that's just the $20 million that you saved with the Correa thing, and all you did is lose. I mean, Carlos Correa did not have a great year, but he was an asset. He was definitely somebody that was, a positive on the Twins squad.
He didn't have a great year for the Twins, certainly not relative to a $30 million salary. But this discussion is basically treating him as free.
Right.
It's either you have him or you don't have him. If you don't spend that $20 million.
You don't spend that $20 million. Right.
And obviously, if they have $100 million or even $110 or even $120 million payroll for 2026, well, they very clearly are not spending that $20 million.
They just pocketed that. Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Now, a couple things about this. So my question here is, will the blank space of the ghost Carlos Correa, that $10 million in dead money, right now that's the third highest salary on the entire team.
Yeah.
Behind Lopez and Buxton. And it's actually not even close. Like nobody's within 3 million of that. In terms of even arbitration guys, which we're going to get to in a moment. Here's my question. On opening day, next, late March of 2026, will this still be the third highest salary? And by the way, if they trade Lopez, it becomes the second
highest salary. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess my question there is, second, third, will they be adding a player this offseason who makes more than $10 million, in your opinion?
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
Which is the sad part.
I mean, the over-under is 2.5, right? The question is whether it's going to be second or third.
Right.
More so than whether or not it's going to be third or fourth. Right.
Right. And this is what I meant by sad. It is sad to have the entire Correa thing go pear-shaped, break bad, whatever you want to say. It's sad to pay $30-something million to a higher payroll, more successful team to take back the star player that you thought you got from them. And it's sad to, have $20 million in quote unquote savings that we are highly skeptical they will even use $1 of that in reality, in terms of reinvesting above and beyond. And then it's also sad to sit here on October 10th and say 5 months from now, will this Carlos Correa $10 million dead money still be one of the 2 or 3 highest salaries on the team? And I think we're kind of both in agreement that, probably.
Yeah, probably. This goes back to one of the things you said earlier, which was sort of like, one of the real damaging parts of the payroll cut in 2023 was that you already had built in some expectations for payroll gains or for a certain payroll level, and that allowed you. If the Twins knew that they were operating around $130 million payroll for the foreseeable future, they wouldn't have signed Carlos Correa in the first place, no matter how much he cost, right? The truth is it was seen as a relative bargain for what they got him for, even with a $160 million payroll. And this is the logical conclusion of a $30 million pay cut back in 2023. What we saw at the trade deadline was that $30 million pay cut, which, they claim is right-sizing the organization.
Yeah.
Falvey's reaction to that is, well, I got to right-size the payroll. And the way I got to right-size that payroll is by eating $10 million worth of losses to free up another $20 million that was. So, I mean, in some ways, I did like this trade. I liked the Correa trade. But yes, it's only a good trade if you're getting that $20 million back. And it was. And I would say that this is the logical conclusion of what we saw in 2023. And welcome to the end of this video. There's lots more. For another, just click on one of these boxes.
Or click on this circle in the middle to subscribe to all of our Twins Talk.
Thank you.
Gleeman